Hi, Roomies.
Hi, I'm sorry. I got distracted with a message from Twitter.
I get distracted by the epic music all the time.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see.
What does Twitter want with us now?
Yeah.
Did we post
Yeah.
something?
It's giving me an error for going live on Twitter. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, now we have to have a premium subscription to go live.
That's all right. I have one.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I just have to add you to my family group. We can do that.
Okay. That'll work then because they didn't let me know until just now. So yeah. Cool beans.
Probably a new thing,
Yeah.
Put surprises on you.
Right. I didn't realize it's been a minute. Yay. We're back.
Yeah.
So I'm Lindsay. This is Maria, and this is Roomies Review the Movies. We are two old college roommates. She has been reviewing movies for the past 20 years, and I have a degree in film, and we are here to review 1997's Def Jam's How to Be a Player.
Yes.
Now, Maria, what have you heard about this movie prior to watching?
I hadn't really heard anything about the movie. I remember seeing the trailer when it was coming out and stuff like that, but I had not heard anything about it really.
Okay. Do you remember the epic soundtrack?
No. I probably know. I know the songs, but I didn't realize they were on the soundtrack.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like Foxy Brown's song, "Big Bad Mama" with Drew Hill was probably bigger than the movie. So that was pretty much the biggest highlight from the 90s. From when I saw it. And that's the reason why I saw it, is because I love that song so freaking much. But so we have Def Jam's How to Be a Player. I think outside of Crush Groove, this is probably like the only other movie that Def Jam put out. I could totally be wrong. They put out that documentary, The Show.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. But like as far as like a fictional movie, yeah, they didn't really do too many of them. But this does star this does star Bill Bellamy.
I remember Bill Bellamy being so super popular.
Yes, he was huge because he was an MTV VJ for MTV Jams. So, the show that Black people watched on MTV. So we have Bill Bellamy. We also have Natalie Desselle.
I forgot she was in this movie.
Yes, she's in this movie. Yes, and we know her from being one of the evil stepsisters in Brandy's version of Cinderella. We also know
being
her
in Baps.
In Baps, absolutely.
I love that.
I don't know a person that doesn't. Even though if you look online, the critics probably trash the hell out of it. But
it's a good movie.
It is. It really is. We also have AJ Johnson. You would know AJ Johnson because that is Ezel from Friday. We also have the comedian Pierre. He didn't really do too many acting roles, but he did do this one,
But
especially
I
at the.
recognize him.
Mhm.
I was like, oh yeah, I've seen this guy a lot of times actually.
Yeah, we know him mainly from his stand up because he was a fixture on Comic View.
Is that what it was? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. At the time,
Yeah.
he's done things since then or whatever, but
I
yeah,
watched a lot of Comic View. So
a whole lot of Comic View.
a
I
whole
was happy
lot.
to see
Yeah.
Pierre. Yeah.
He was in Baps too. He was in Baps as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, he was. He was.
Mhm.
Who else did we see? Bernie Mac. Bernie Mac is
Yes.
in this movie. Um,
Love
and
Bernie
it's just
Mac.
right, right. And it's just so wild to watch this movie because again, this came out in '97. We're in 2024, and you can count how many people have passed on
Oh
since
gosh.
this movie. Yeah. Um, Jermaine Hopkins is in this movie as well. If you don't know that name, you know him from Juice, which we have reviewed before as
Yeah.
well. Juice, in Juice, he was Stilo.
Stilo.
Yeah. Max Julian is in this movie as well. Max Julian, his notoriety came from the black exploitation film The Mac.
Oh, that's where he's from.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So,
Because I was looking
and
at him, I was like, he looks familiar, but I don't remember this name. But
yeah.
I've seen like clips of the Mac. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. That's where he's from.
mhm.
We also have Beverly Johnson, which that's the famous supermodel.
Mhm.
Gilbert Godfrey, J. Anthony Brown.
You may
Uh,
recognize Gilbert Godfrey as the voice of the parrot from Aladdin,
yes, yes. Among other things, like his
among lots of
voiceover.
other things. Yeah.
Yes. BB Drake, she's in it as well. We know her from being Myra from Martin, but of
Yeah.
course she was on countless other things. But yeah, probably our generation know her the most from that and from Friday After Next.
I mean, she
But
was
that
a
was
House Party, Boomerang, Jason's
mhm.
Lyrics, Space Jams, Leprechaun in the Hood, Friday After Next. So,
Yes, yes. But yeah, I definitely like she always stands out to me as being Myra from Martin. Um,
hmm
and then from Friday After Next because she was Damon's mom.
I always remember her like playing moms.
Yes,
For the
yes,
most part.
yes. And then that she had so many good lines that she was probably in like 2 scenes from Friday After Next. Like when they tried to get on her about her mustache, and she was like, "Shut up, bitch! I know somebody who like it."
Your dad like it.
Right, right. And yeah, she was like, "If I don't get my rent by today, somebody getting a salad tossed."
Oh my god.
Just so many gems in that one
Wild.
scene. In that one scene. But yeah, so another person that I didn't even realize who this was until earlier today was Jillian White. Do you recognize that name?
Not really, no.
Okay, so you know who Michael Jai White is.
Yeah, yeah.
It's his wife.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah. Well, she wasn't his wife at the time, so she went by a
Okay.
different name. But yeah. Um
Do you even
she's the
mention Lark Voorhees?
Oh, yes, yes, yes. I forgot about her. Lark Voorhees is definitely in this movie. So yeah, she stands out. We all know her as Lisa Turtle.
And her name is Lisa here, and
Yes.
she's into fashion.
Yes, yes. She has a boutique. And but yeah, so Jillian White is the love interest that's Jamaican in the
Oh,
movie.
okay, okay, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, so we have quite a few names in this movie. Excuse me. And yeah, so it started out promising. So basically, the movie starts out with a dream. We don't know it's a dream initially, however. But yeah, it starts out with a dream of Bill Bellamy's character Dre. He is in the middle of a session with a young lady, and there is his girlfriend, who is played by Lark Voorhees. She is on her way to his apartment, and his apartment building has a desk where the person that mans the desk has to call up to the apartment to confirm that this person should be in the building or whatever. So she walks right on in because the person at the desk is asleep. So she grabs the keys, goes upstairs, and she's going through the apartment. The apartment has like little things laid out because it looks like it's going to be a date. So she's dressed. So we're assuming that he was anticipating her arrival.
Yeah.
Because she's dressed for a date or whatever, and she's looking all around and she's seeing how he got the flowers, the champagne, the chocolates. And so she's just like, oh, he's just so thoughtful. Like candles, like the whole nine. Oh, he's just so thoughtful, So she ends up going upstairs. And so when she goes upstairs to the bedroom, that's when she catches her boyfriend Dre, full-fledged in a session
with another woman.
And so she, of course, interrupts them, calls him a son of a bitch, and then he wakes up.
It's basically a stress dream.
Yeah, right. Because it's eventually gonna happen. It's just when and where. So he realizes that it was a stress dream, and once he realizes that, he's like, cool, I can start my day. I'm assuming that this day is a holiday. Because
everybody has all the time in the world.
Yeah, because
a holiday or a weekend, because they also have that barbecue.
Right. So I'm just like, it has to be either one. But just a random Saturday to have a barbecue, I'm thinking it has to be a holiday weekend, I guess. Yeah. So he gets up, gets dressed. We have this whole montage of him getting dressed and all the prep work that he does.
And how he saves the women's underwear in shoe boxes.
Yeah. I saw you tweet about that.
Giving serial killer.
Yeah. I don't understand the point of keeping it, especially
your trophies.
Yeah, like they're trophies, but right. You when are you ever gonna bring them out and show people? Like, it's kind of weird, but
you have for a reason,
right? But you have like women in and out, especially one that like cleans up. So why would you keep such big evidence like this? And then if she's cleaning up, then there's that one pair of shoes that doesn't have a shoebox. Like small things, but yeah. So yeah, he has this Adidas shoebox full of underwear. You can definitely tell Adidas was a sponsor in this movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So so we have this montage or whatever of him getting ready, him cleaning up the little piece of evidence, the remnants that he still has, i.e. the underwear, put them in the shoebox. And then that's another thing, like, I can't just leave my underwear.
Like, why aren't they leaving? Like,
right. Like, unless you purposely did that, I'm gonna grab my underwear.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Yeah.
So
he also sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good.
I was just gonna comment on the whole picture frame thing.
Yeah. So he does have one picture frame where he has several of his women in the picture frame. Their pictures in the picture frame, so he just switches them out whenever he needs to. Wow. That is hilarious. But yeah, so he's getting himself together and kind of low key getting the apartment together to just make it look like an unkept bachelor pad because his girlfriend is on her way there to clean up
On her way before work to clean up and cook. I was
and
like,
cook. She did a lot before work. I was thinking that too because I'm like, I barely talk before I go to work, let alone try to go over to somebody's house and clean up and cook.
and she
Like,
has herself together. So it wasn't like she was gonna get
yes,
herself together there. She's already made up and everything. It was like you went over. Oh wow, like I
yeah,
can't.
right,
No, I
right.
can
I mean, it'd
barely
be
feed
one
myself
thing,
in the morning. What do you mean?
right? That's what I'm saying. Like, it'd be one thing if you was already there from the night before, but you got up, got dressed, left your crib to go over to his crib to clean up and cook. And she didn't just cook something like put it in a microwave for 2 minutes. Here you go. Like
No,
she cooked pancakes and eggs.
and just for him, she did not even fix herself a plate.
She didn't. She didn't. But she had extras. She did have extra. So maybe she was. Well, no, she wasn't thinking about eating. But but anyway, so she comes. So this is when we actually see his actual girlfriend, which is Lisa. Um, they're outside of the dream. So
Mhm.
we're introduced to them and their dynamic. On the outside, you would think it's a nice, loving relationship. However, she does have trust issues. Now, it's not really explored why she has these trust issues, but she does have these trust issues. Just pretty much going back and forth in her head, why she doesn't 100% trust him, because up to this point we have no conversation or anything like that as to why.
No, she just
Um,
has a hunch.
yeah, she just has her intuition. And so she is like a battle between herself um or within herself to act on this urge to, snoop around and stuff.
Mhm.
One of the things is his answering machine, which is pretty obsolete in this day and age.
Yeah, like this day and age would be she's just going through his phone.
Right, or seeing his texts or
Mhm.
something. But yeah, so she sees his voicemail, which before she got there, we did hear some of his voicemails. Um, seems like this is a
From
thing. It's another thing
several
for him.
women, right?
Yeah, it's full of women, but this is another thing for him that he has voicemails while he's in the middle of sessions. And he has these women leave these voicemails on why they love him. And so so yeah, so he's listening to these voicemails and then he stops it, of course, when she gets there. But she sees that he has about 7 voicemails, and so they go back and forth on them being played.
Mhm.
And so
And he's like, "Don't you trust me?"
right, right. And so she was just like he was just like, I'll play it for you. I'll play it for you right now. And so of course that plays on her mental because she's like, no, I trust you. You don't have to play it, blah blah blah.
Right. He tries to make her doubt her
Yeah,
suspicion.
right, right. So yeah, so it doesn't get played while he's there. And so next thing you know, while she's there or whatever, she prepares him breakfast. And so he eats the breakfast and then we have a knock on her door. And it is Natalie Desselle's character, which is Dre's sister.
And he is so mean to her.
You think so?
Yes.
I thought it was just brother and sister banter.
Well, I don't really have a older sibling like that, so
Yeah, yeah. Um,
he just seemed mean to me.
no, I didn't take him as mean. I mean if we were gonna label somebody mean, it would have been her.
No, because he's out here setting up all these tricks and traps and trying to be deceitful and stuff like that, and she wants him to stop.
It's not like she's like, brother, please stop. No, she goes hard on him, but
Yeah,
it's
she goes
not
hard on
about
him
him.
because I think it's like, they've had this conversation many, many times. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, but it's more about her than anything. You know what I'm saying? So it's not about him.
No, it's about him.
I don't think so. I think it. I mean, she, and then on top of that, she said it at the end of the movie. It was never about him. It's about her.
Sure, but it's also about him facilitating this behavior. That was
Yes.
part of her. That was, we'll give him the
Yeah.
whole thing with Mike, but yeah.
Right. Right. So, Natalie's character's name is Jenny, and so, she comes over, and they have their back and forth or whatnot. It seems like they've been having this back and forth since they were kids. It's
Probably.
like, so, yeah, Lisa offers her breakfast, and of course she takes it or whatever, and she's still getting her jabs in on him, just like, you cooking for him? Should I wouldn't cook for him, and blah blah blah. So
I wouldn't
now,
either.
yeah, I especially not before work, absolutely not. So,
I'm getting up, getting ready, then going to your place to clean and cook for and not make a plate. Well, no. This is no.
right, it's unrealistic.
Yeah.
So
Who has a time?
right. So, but yeah, so she's over there, initially she was supposed to come over there to get a pot for this, for this barbecue that their mom is throwing. Then it turned into her doing a project for school, and her friend ended up coming over, and her friend comes over after Lisa leaves for work.
Yeah.
And so her friend and her are supposed to be doing this project, but her friend is an attractive woman, and Dre can't help himself but to hit on her. And she's already gotten the rundown.
Right. She
Yeah,
got the
so
rundown.
she's already gotten the whole download on him. So she's being polite, but it's like his tricks are not working. So yeah. So
also, at one point before they got over there, he went downstairs, talked to the doorman. He's telling the doorman all about Lisa and like the messages on his machine or whatever. And he's like, even the most trustworthy girl is going to listen. So I switched out the tape. So we see Lisa upstairs listening to these messages, and it's all his mother and his grandma. She feels so guilty for ever doubting Dre.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So she did have that battle, and she lost the battle. She lost the battle big time. But yeah.
And then Dre says he loves, like sister's friends because they know all about you and they want to know if it's true. So he's big time over here hitting on Katrina.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I mean, there's a lot of things in this movie that, I guess will make sense. And that does make sense. That does make sense, because even though you do got the whole download, it is still, I guess, intriguing or enticing just to see what the whole big whoop is about. So
not to me, but it was funny when Jenny's talking to Katrina and she's like talking about the girls he's been with and what they've told her about him, and she goes on this list of things like chains and blah blah blah, whatever, nipple clamps, blah blah, and then she says fried asparagus. Like, what?
Yeah.
But it was also like, I don't want to know those things. And she was there. She's like, why would I want to know that?
Right. Like, I would hate for somebody to give me the whole download of what happens in the bathroom with them and my brother.
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, like, it's gross. Get out of here.
Please.
So so yeah. Yeah, so while Katrina is there and she's getting hit on by Dre or whatever, Dre ends up going upstairs and he's like, I need to talk to you, Jenny, or whatever. So Jenny goes upstairs. They end up having a whole conversation that is loud. He lives in a loft, so there's no walls.
It's like concrete, like loft. So that means you can hear everything.
Everything. So Katrina is listening to the whole thing. Not even
doesn't really have a choice.
Yeah. So she hears the whole conversation. So the conversation upstairs is Dre pretty much saying that your friend want to give me the ass, and yeah, I'm a let her. And
You
she's
literally just met
like,
this girl 10 minutes ago.
right, right. And, Jenny is like, you can't, like, no, that's not what this is. You can't handle a woman like her, blah, blah, blah. And they're having a whole back and forth about that. And then Dre throws up this Michael Jones in Jenny's face. And that's pretty much a man that she dealt with that was literally just like her brother. And she pretty much got her face cracked in that situation.
This is the part where I say he's mean to her. Because, like, he brings it up and you can see, like, it really hurt. She's really hurt. Like, behind this Mike Jones thing.
Yeah. But,
it's
if
when he brings it up
be...
later in the car on speakerphone.
Yeah, now that was fucked up.
I was like, oh,
that
so
was
you really don't even like your sister. Because, like, why would you do that?
But I don't take it as hard as you're taking it, because if that was the case, he would have brought that stuff up from the beginning. He was bringing that up to make a point because she's on his head constantly. Mm-hmm. So he just pretty much was like, back up off me.
No, but I'm talking about when he's in their car, he brings it up in front of everybody. He knew he was wrong. He knew he shouldn't have been talking about it like that.
He shouldn't have brought it up in the car. Now that was messed up. But I'm talking about when they was in the room and he brought it up. The first time he brought it up. So, like, if he was really trying to be like that mean of a person, he would have brought that up from the gate. Just, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then if he was that mean, she probably wouldn't go as hard on him if he was really that mean, because
I think
he's always going to bring that part up, and it's, you know what I mean? So
I think as long as she thinks she can stop him from doing this behavior or embarrass him for the behavior, she would still go for it.
I don't think so. I don't think if he were to go that hard, I don't think so. But it sounds like he was trying to be a brother to her during that situation. You know what I mean? Because he's saying that he told her, don't mess with him. He's pretty much like me. And she did it anyway and got her face cracked. So it does sound like he was trying to be a brother in that instance. But can't save everyone, I guess. But yeah, she got her face cracked again in that conversation. It seemed like that man is pretty much like that person that takes all the air out of you. Mm-hmm. So that pretty much shut that conversation down. Then they go back downstairs and he ends up leaving. He leaves them there.
Which is crazy. So, okay.
Yeah. If I'm leaving, everybody gotta go.
Right.
So, yeah. So they end up having a conversation. So apparently this project that they're doing, they're using Dre and the way that he lives his life as their subject. And it sounds like a psychological science project,
psychological or sociological
experiment. So they have their whole hypothesis on if they put him in a situation that's beyond his control, on if he will be able to adapt or will he concede. So we have this whole plot, going on, and they're, setting up to try to, figure out how they're going to go about putting him in an unideal situation. Well, they ended up finding his electronic black book, and now they need to break into it so that they can get all his latest numbers. So they ended up doing that and whatnot. And so now their plan is to call all the women that he messed with to have them come to this party that he invited Katrina to that night. This party that's out in Malibu. So while this is all going on in his loft, he ends up going downstairs to meet with two of his friends, Spooty and Kilo. And so now they're going to start their day festivities.
They're also going to this barbecue.
Yes. They'll eventually go to the barbecue.
That's the
Now,
destination that they know of.
yeah, right, the ultimate destination. So we have this funny scene with Gilbert Godfrey. He's the front desk man,
Yeah.
and he's sitting there looking at dirty dirty magazines with them and whatnot. And so after they leave and whatnot, they ended up running into one of the ladies that Dre has messed with in his apartment building.
Yep. Which he
And
regrets.
yes. And so we find out one of the rules to the game is to not mess with a woman that you live in close proximity to.
Yeah.
Because
That's
when
called
things
don't
go
poop where
left,
you eat.
right? Because when things go left, it ain't like you can just get up and move. So
She knows where you live.
literally. Yeah. We kind of saw this in Boomerang.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Yeah, so run into that lady or what have you, and then they ended up leaving. So next place they go to is to pick up David,
Right.
who is played by Pierre. Oh wow.
What?
Joe Biden says he is not seeking re-election.
Oh, breaking news.
Yeah. In a letter he posted to social media just weeks after mounting pressure from Democrats.
I did not think that would happen.
I didn't think it was going to happen either. Damn.
Oh, well.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, that's
What
another
can you do?
podcast, right?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm checking Twitter and like some journalists are freaking out.
Yeah. You know, they said this a couple of days ago, and I was just like, that couldn't be true because because it wasn't trending on Twitter. I was like, it's not trending on Twitter, so it's not true. And yeah. And I was like, I ain't getting no breaking news or nothing. But no, I have breaking news. He's gonna go ahead and
You heard it here first, Roomies.
yeah. Oh, MG. Okay.
You know, I'm tired of living in interesting times. I would like them real boring, real smooth, you know.
You know, I like living in times where politics is not hot topics.
Not the hot topics, right?
Yeah.
Like, can we go? Can we make it like nerdy and boring so it can be effective and not entertainment? But
Right.
speaking of entertainment, back to movie.
Right. Back to movie. So yeah. Yeah, so David again is played by Pierre. And David is in a kerfuffle. And so to say the least.
Put it nicely. Yeah.
You're right. Right. So
A kerfuffle of his own making.
yes,
A homemade
100%.
kerfuffle.
Right. 100%. So he has a woman in his house who he's having a session with, and they're doing all kinds of things apparently. However,
he's wearing cowboy hat, cowboy boots, undershirt, and drawers.
Yes.
Boxers,
yes. With a belt that has a holder for whipped cream.
Yes.
They were going to have a time. Okay.
I don't like what are we? I don't know what we were doing. But I don't want
going to have a time. Right. So while this situation is taking place, his phone is ringing off the hook because Dre has a cell phone that he's calling him from the car. And the doorbell is ringing profusely along with knocks on the door from his actual girlfriend, who was played by Elise Neal.
Elise Neal. I love Elise Neal.
Yeah, she's awesome. And she's snapping because she's like, why are you not answering the door? You need to let me in.
Mm-hmm.
He don't know which way is up because he don't know if he should answer the phone, if he should answer the door. He goes for the door, he puts the chain on, and then he opens it. that pisses her off even more because it's like, why are
Why
you
would
not
you do
saving
what?
me?
Like, you're clearly
Right.
being sneaky. Like,
Right. So yeah. So she ends up breaking through the door and she just like, I know something is going on. I can smell it. Then his lady, his session assistant, I guess.
session assistant. His adult playmates.
Right, right. She comes downstairs, excuse me, and she's just like, what's going on? Who is this? Elise Neal is like, who are you? And so yeah, they have a whole back and forth. And David's just looking like
Helpless.
he don't know what to do. He just
Mm-mm.
he just looks so lost. So um Dre, Kilo and Spooty, they're on their way and they're just like, why is he not answering the phone? What is going on? Blah blah blah. So they get there or whatever. When they get there, they're getting out the car, coming up the stairs, all while hell just broke loose in David's apartment. They didn't smack them, both of them then took turns and smacking him in the face and leaving. And while they're leaving, the guys are coming up. David is trying to salvage what little piece of relationship he got with Elise Neal, but it's not working.
Not at
She's
all.
like, hell no, get off of me.
She
I'm
slaps
out.
him.
Right. She slapped
And
him.
apparently she slapped him for real each time.
You could tell because he prepped himself for it. Yeah. So you can definitely tell. So once David realizes that the guys are there, that's when he starts talking shit. So
because now he got a battery in his back.
Right, right. So everybody goes up to his apartment and they're like, WTF, what happened in here? And so he's just like, I had a little incident, blah, blah, blah. So Spoolie and Kilo are cracking jokes. And mainly Spoolie is cracking the jokes. And so Dre is kind of like telling him, like, stall him out. That doesn't do anything though, because they're still cracking jokes. And so David has a random boxing glove. And Dre's like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I'm about to whoop his ass. He put the one boxing glove on and tries to fight Kilo.
For me, this scene went on too long.
It
wasn't funny to me.
It was
no. It was very goofy.
Well, yeah.
I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Like I was like, what are we doing here?
Well, it was definitely for comedy purposes because we have 3 comics in a scene.
You have 3 comics, and that's the thing, though. We have 3, 4, including Elise Neal.
She's a comic.
Well, she's done comedic roles a lot.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't funny to me. Like I laughed one time in this whole movie.
Did you? Okay. Yeah. Okay. But yeah. Now me back being in 97 when I was like, what was I, 13? Yeah, it was funny to me back then.
Yeah, I think I'd definitely be more receptive to it were I 13 again, for sure.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, although I'd probably be way more annoyed.
Yeah.
But
like, why are y'all
I would
doing
definitely
this?
be more receptive to like the goofy parts, because like watching it now it's just like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll give you that. But yeah, so they have this whole scene or whatever, and yeah, so they pretty much tell David, pretty much to get ready, get dressed so we can go. So they leave and they hit up one of Dre's women's houses.
And this is like one of the most bizarre parts of this film to me. Because they're with Dre to go to the barbecue.
Right.
That's Dre makes 3 or 4 stops.
Yeah.
I think along the way.
3. Yeah.
To try and sleep with these different women.
That's why I say it had to be a holiday.
It had to
Because
be.
I can't see this happening like
Well,
every
you have a
Saturday
job,
or something.
right?
Yeah, like
Especially with like all their schedules. So yeah, that's the only. It
mhm.
had to have been like Memorial Day or something.
Right. So
Um, but like, yeah, I mean, and they're in the car waiting for him to sleep with all these women.
yeah.
What? In in what it's probably the summer in California. Like
Yeah. Right. That's why I'm thinking like maybe it was Memorial Day
yeah,
because Dre had on a jacket.
maybe. But like we were tagging along to all your hookups. We
Yeah.
just wanted to go to the barbecue.
Right. That food look good too. Not even gonna hold you. But yeah. So we have the first encounter, and that is with the married woman that he messes with, which is Beverly Johnson. She is married to Bernie Mac.
Yes.
Is this where you laughed?
No.
Oh, okay.
I laughed when Natalie Desselle had a line in the movie that made me laugh.
Oh, okay. So I
But
remember.
I do really like I do sorry, what was his name? I do really like Bernie Mac and like the way he specifically like when he comes in and he's like talking about his plants and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He just has these very kind of real ad libs.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can like, yep, this sounds like something that would very much actually this kind of conversation would very much actually happen.
Yeah. Now, one thing that was very memorable rather to me, was because I've never heard it prior to was Badussy.
Yeah, I was like, oh, what?
That was the first time I ever heard that, and so every time that I hear somebody say that, I always think of this movie.
Yeah, that did surprise me. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and then he explained what it was on top of that. So yeah,
I love a good portmanteau.
You said what?
I love a good portmanteau.
Right. So yeah, so we have this encounter that Dre has with Beverly Johnson, and they're in the middle of a session, and then her husband comes home, who is Bernie Mac, and he comes in. He seems like he cares more about his plants than he does Beverly, and that's probably the reason why she's venturing out. But that's when he says it smells like Badussy. And so she's trying to distract him because Dre's still in the house.
And
the
couch.
Right. And so then then he pops out, and he's saying that he was there to clean the pipes.
Right. Because Bernie Mac is excited. He's like, oh, we're gonna have sex. It's gonna be like the first time in 4 years.
4 years.
No,
right.
It's not. No, it's not.
First time for them together.
But it's not going to be your first time in 4 years. If it's been 4 years,
yeah,
this is not it.
Yeah,
this is not for you. Is what I'm saying.
Well, it's not. It's definitely not for her.
No, it's not for him.
Why do you say?
Because I'm saying if you already have not had sex in that long in your marriage, the time that you surprise her at home and she's dressed like this, it wasn't for you.
Oh, okay. I get what you're saying. Right. Because I mean, yeah.
We are not suddenly about to have sex 3 years and 3 years, 365 plus 1 day in. Like, no.
Right. I get what you're saying now. Yeah. Right. Like he needed to think this through a little bit more. But yeah, so Dre gets caught and he says that he's there to clean the pipes. And we have this whole scene of him talking about how much he had to bang the pipes until they were all clear for him.
He wraps his towel around his head like it's a turban and puts on like this, I guess it's supposed to be an Indian accent.
Right. And as dark as Bill Bellamy is, he ain't came from nobody's Middle East.
Well, I mean, there are people who look like him in India, but like, come on, my guy.
Right. So
you're a comedian.
It's not realistic. Right. It's not realistic at all. So
No.
so yeah.
Oh, he drops the
Then
condom.
yeah, because Bernie Mac asked for a card, because he kind of calmed down because he was first amped because this man was in his house,
Mhm.
and so after he calmed down or whatever, he was just like, then can I get your card or something? So he was like, yeah, of course, and he's like going through his pockets and whatnot.
Mm.
Next thing
So
you know, he
90s.
dropped.
So
Right,
90s. Let
right,
me get your card so I can refer you to other people. Oh,
right.
remember the time.
Okay. So he drops the card, or not card. He
He doesn't
drops
even
a
have one.
condom. Of
Right.
course, he doesn't have a card, but he drops a condom out of his pocket. As soon as he saw that he dropped that condom, he burnt out.
Mm-hmm. And you
So,
would think, because considering like how Dre is like so prepared in his apartment with all the different pictures, all the voicemail switch outs and stuff like that, he would have like some fake cards.
yeah, but
He seems like that. I mean, with all this setup, he seems like that kind of guy. So I
yeah,
was only a little
I,
surprised he didn't.
I think, I think mainly probably because that's the only attached woman that he messes with. So he
Oh
really
yeah,
no
yeah.
need. Yeah.
Oh yeah. But I mean, if you're gonna be this kind of like number one player, you gotta see all the angles.
Right, right, right. You got to be
Awesome.
sharp on all four corners.
Right. You could have had a
Yeah.
card for anything.
Right. Just have your name on it. So, so yeah. When Bernie Mac sees that condom, that's when he starts saying, like,
He
I
literally
guess
was
his
like,
asthma starts flaring up, and he's like, "I'm gonna kill you, bitch. I'm gonna kill
you're right.
you."
And when he catches his breath.
Right, right. So,
And
yeah.
see,
So
like his friends are outside like wanting to see what's happening.
but no, not at that house. At
Okay.
this house, this is where they was playing the loud music.
Oh, that's right. That's right. And
Yeah.
that pissed Bernie Mac off.
Right, right. Because when Bernie Mac came home, that actually distracted him from coming in.
Yeah, because they were trying to buy him some time.
Mm-hmm. So, so yeah.
Bernie
So
Mac
they
was
ended.
good looking too, boy.
Yeah, yeah, he was. So yeah. So they ended up leaving that house. So then they go to his next house.
Mm-hmm.
His next house is in a different neighborhood, and he tells them like, "Hey, y'all can't play that music out here like that." So at this house, it looks like it's pretty much like a adult contemporary type of design, you know. So it looks pretty nice. They didn't expect this, but when they opened the door and saw that white girl pop out, they was like, "Whoa,
Mm-hmm.
wait a minute!" So he got a white girl on the roster too. So
And she's talking about all this mandingo. Like I was like, okay, all right.
yeah, I saw your tweet about that too. So yeah, so this particular lady likes to do a lot of role play. So he goes into this house and
It's giving race play, honestly.
it could have very well been that. But she's the nurse and he's the sick patient. So
And
she
they're
is
just sitting outside. How long
they're
is it
just sitting
supposed to
out.
take?
You know, I wouldn't want to be a part of nobody's
I'm thinking
daily
we're going to a
activities.
barbecue.
Right.
And now
Right.
we're at a third location.
No, we at the second one.
Well, the first location is where they met to get in the car.
Okay, gotcha.
Second
Yeah.
location is supposed to be the barbecue.
Facts. No, the second location was to pick up David, and then
Oh, that's true.
the
And they go to the
ultimate,
barbecue. Right.
right? The ultimate location was the barbecue. But yeah, we got to go on these sexual
Second detour.
conquests.
Right. What?
Right.
I didn't sign up for this.
Right. Right. But
I'm gonna need food on the way to the barbecue.
dude, especially because Kilo was like, I woke up thinking of your mama's cooking. Like, I'm surprised that he wasn't as pissed as he should have been.
And they
Like,
all
dude, right. So, yeah, no, I feel you on that because somebody like me, if I know I'm going to a barbecue, I'm not eating until I get to the barbecue. So I would have been really pissed.
hungry, hot.
Yeah, all that. So, yeah. So yeah, so they're in there doing their whole little role play before they get it in. And next thing you know, Spoolie and Kilo is like, all right, showtime. So they get out the car and they go find a place where they could watch.
Which is
I
so
think
weird
that's weird
to me. Like,
too.
is it what?
Right. I don't give a damn how horny I am. I don't want to sit up and watch my friend have sex.
No.
I don't get it. I don't care how sexually deprived I am. I'm not gonna do that.
I don't understand.
Yeah. Hey, but we're women, so maybe that's
No, I don't
our
think so. I don't think
difference.
that has anything to do with it.
Yeah. Right.
Oh.
So yeah, so they go get a trash bin, and Kilo, which is the heavier one, he jumps on top of it while Spooty is holding him up, and he's able to see. And so while he's up there watching, he passes gas, and that
It's just
causes
like right in the other guy's face.
right, and so that causes Spooty to fall, which causes the trash bin and Kilo to fall. So yeah,
Make a bunch of noise outside, all that stuff.
all that, and I'm just like, okay, let's just be for real. We talking about two black guys that are like looking into a house in a white neighborhood. You mean to tell me there was not one Karen? Like, this looks suspicious.
Not one phone call to police.
Right.
I mean, because if you were outside, you would think they were casing the place.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Because they're totally trying to look through a window and all that stuff. So you would not be out of the realm of possibility. Be like, oh, hold on, this is not up and up.
At the bare minimum, peeping toms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is what they were doing, actually. So the fact that nobody running past, what no neighbor putting out their trash.
Nobody said, "Hey, buddy."
Right. What you doing? Like
you
nothing. Nothing. So that was completely unrealistic. Even in the 90s, it was completely unrealistic.
Yeah, so. Even more so. Like
right.
But yeah, that's the point where I was like, oh, these are not friends. These are fans. Because there's no way you're like, yeah, I really want to see my friend in intimate moments in real time.
Right.
How can I make this happen without them even knowing? What?
Right. Like I don't want to hear details. Nothing. Like
right. I'm also not upset by the fact that we're supposed to be going to a barbecue. In fact, it's actually cool that we're going along with all the sexual exploits so that we can see them. Y'all are not friends.
Right. Right. So we have this situation, that took place or whatnot. So now they're leaving. And Dre was like, yo, y'all really was out there watching? Like, did I see what I saw? And they was like, yeah. So, yeah. So then they go to their third woman's home. And Spooty was like, where she live at? In jail? So, because she live in one of those lofts.
Yeah. All
one
concrete.
of those. Right. One of those concrete downtown lofts. And so, which I always used to be like fascinated with those type of lofts back when I was a kid. Because they just seem so cool because it does look like you're living in a warehouse. And then when you get in, the house is just amazing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Except for when you actually get into one and it's like, oh, no, this is going to be cold.
Yeah.
And the ceilings are super high and the sound goes everywhere.
Yeah. Now, I've never lived in one, but my mom had a classmate that had one when I was a kid, and they used to have like classmate meetings there. And so that's like the place, just like how you see it in the movies. Is how it is. Yeah. So, but anyway, so yeah, so they go to jail. And this chick's name was Sherry. And so she is the freak of the week. The freak of the decade. She plays in that world.
Yeah.
If she's not one, she definitely plays in that world.
She's into it, right?
Yeah. So so they have which he tells David, she's a bit much. So 30 minutes, come get me. So he's like, all right. So he goes in and
So we're just sitting outside for 30 minutes.
Right.
Hot and hungry. On
all
another location.
Yes. All that. And so, old girl jumps his bones as soon as she opens the door. However, outside, David was asked Spooty, what time is it? He said it's 4:15.
How long have they been in this car?
I don't know. It's been a minute because he's been to a couple of places.
The only person who's eaten so far is Dre.
Yeah. Yeah, because he ate breakfast. Right. Yeah. So yeah, like ain't nobody, we ain't got no bag of chips, ain't nobody got no gas, like nothing.
Stop by the drive-through. Nothing.
Like, hey, can we stop here? My stomach is in my back. So so while they're in the car waiting on him, it's 4:15. And Kilo starts rapping. Now Kilo sounds like he's from New York, because he made a comment to make you think that or whatever. And so bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so he starts rapping like he invented rap or something. I don't know. But so they're in there and they're doing all kinds of stuff in their session. And
he ought to be exhausted too. Like,
I was just astounded at the stamina, because you got to get it up so many times in a day.
Like, yeah, and I don't think he's ever finished any of these sessions. Part. They seem to get interrupted.
I think he finished with the white girl. I don't think he finished with Beverly Johnson.
No, he didn't. They didn't even get started.
Right. So, but yeah. So he's full-fledged in the middle of a session with Sherry. Sherry gets a call from Jenny, because at this point they didn't found his electronic black book and they broke the code. And so they're calling all of his women to have them come to the party that night.
Yep.
And so
when one location, get them to know each other.
Right. So once they get to Sherry's number, she's actually in the middle of a session with Dre. And so they can tell that she's in a session. So they're like, if Dre is there, don't say nothing. And so they invite her. And so then she
actually picks up the phone while they're in the middle of it. And her sister's like, this is a bad time. She's like, actually, yeah, it's really bad. Like, why did you pick up the phone, girl?
You just never know who's on the other end. Everybody didn't have caller ID, and it may be an emergency.
That's true.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
hop off.
Pause it. But some men are disrespectful. When you do take a phone call, they don't give a damn. So I'm sure Dre's one of those people that are disrespectful. But yeah. So she invites her to the party, and she goes. And so with her going to or with her being on the phone or whatever, again, she's in the middle of a session. So she gets off the phone, and then she tells Dre, hey, I want to try something different. And so Dre is like, OMG. Meanwhile, we go back to the car where David, Kilo, and Spooty are. Kilo is still rapping. And David is like, okay, what time is it? And so Spooty tells him it's 4:20. So it's only been 5 minutes. So David's like, all right, I can't do this no more. So he gets out the car. He goes up to the apartment to get Dre, because he's like, I'm over it. And so Sherry answers the door, of course. And so then she's just like, or David's just like, hey, it's a family emergency. I need to get Dre. We need to go. So, so Dre ends up, leaving with David. But when he left with David, it wasn't before David is looking all around this loft to see all these kinds of things that Sherry has in the loft. And he stumbled upon one of those sex chairs. And while he's waiting on Dre to come down, he's having a time with that sex chair. And that, to me, that was funny too. But so they ended up leaving. And when they left there, that's when they finally go to the barbecue. And so when they go to the barbecue or whatever, that's when they are running into people, because it's a barbecue. It's a lot of people there. And then like right after they got there is when Jenny and her friend gets there. And they're finally bringing the pot that she asked for hours ago. Their mom asked for hours ago. And so, so they're getting their food and they're sitting down, they're talking. Then they see this one lady whose name is Peaches. And she's a very attractive woman. Of course, they call everybody's eye. And they're like, who is that? And so Dre is like, that's Peaches. She's my uncle's woman. So if she's here, that means that my uncle is here. The uncle is played by Max Julian, Uncle Fred. That's played by Max Julian. So they go and they talk to Uncle Fred. And Uncle Fred is pretty much being the Mac that he is and putting them up on game. So they're sitting down, they're giving them all kinds of game. And they're, pretty much writing down the game, So with them doing that, like this whole movie is kind of has been a like literally how to be a player, and they're going through rules and all kinds of stuff. So the students for the most part is what's his name, Kilo and Spooty, and so they're pretty much going through all that and what have you with Uncle Fred.
So we're at the barbecue finally.
Yes, we're finally at the
barbecue. Finally they get to eat.
Yes. So after they talked to Uncle Fred or whatnot, they ended up leaving.
And Uncle Fred says like some of the most ridiculous stuff.
Because he's a man.
Right. But it just didn't make any sense. What did he say? He said like, women want to be played. They need to be played. And we have to keep playing them to keep this man-woman thing going. What?
So another
I'm not sure what you're saying.
Right. So another breaking news has come up.
No way.
Yeah. Biden endorsed Kamala.
Of course.
Yeah, knew that was gonna happen.
Yeah. So now we have a prosecutor running against a felon.
You could not write it.
I need someone to put the pen down. Okay. If you're gonna do something else, make it a Bridgerton kind of story, please. Like,
man,
I'm sick of West Wing. I'm sick of 24. I'm sick of
that debate in September is going to be epic. That's it. That's all. But yeah. So back to the movie. So they leave the movie and they're going into a
because it's like he's passing on wisdom to the young players.
Yes. Right. Even though it sounds ridiculous, and Jenny pretty much said what a lot of us were thinking while watching. Like Yeah. This is they looking up to him, and
He
he's
is
not nobody to
cool.
look up to, right? He's nobody to look up to.
He's nobody to look up to. And like oh, and also like when they're out on these like sexcapades with him, this is when like he calls his apartment because he knows his sister is there, and she picks up pretending to be one of his girls. So she can,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Stop.
And
Stop.
he
Yeah.
right, right. And of course he catches her, and that's when he brings up Mike Jones again. That's the part where I was like, oh, he really does not even
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
his
I forgot
sister.
about that
Because why would
part.
you do that in front of all of your friends like that so they can laugh at her?
Yeah. Yeah. Now that was pretty messed up. And he did call back and apologize to her
Yeah,
off
yeah.
speaker.
Off
Um,
speaker. I was
yeah.
like, ooh, that was just the nail in the coffin for her. And I don't blame her.
hmm Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, so after they leave the
The
barbecue,
barbecue.
they go into, I guess it was like a strip mall or something like
Yeah.
that. And
I'm sorry
they
to keep going back over stuff you already talked about.
oh no,
But
you
like
good.
the two twins, well, they're not
Mhm.
twins, but they're siblings.
Right.
Right? I remember
Mhm.
seeing them,
Mhm.
like, kind of a lot, but, like, I didn't really know anything too much about them. I just remember seeing everybody talk about them because 'cause they're fat. Uh,
Yeah. And in the light one, he was on the Parkers, and he was on the first Nutty Professor.
oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's where I recognize them from probably the most. But
Mhm.
yeah, there's Jamal and Gerard Mixon.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, they were doing a lot of stuff at the time.
They were. They were.
Yeah,
They were pretty popular.
TV.
Yeah. So, yeah.
But I do love that they got to beat up J. Anthony Brown for his talk.
hmm Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
coming
Because
from
all they
some fat
wanted was
folk
some damn
stuff.
hot sauce.
Yeah,
Give
they
the boys
real
some hot
bad though,
sauce.
real bad. I was like, "What is in this hot sauce?"
I get it. I get it. Sometimes stuff ain't complete until you get the condiments.
That's true, that's true.
Yeah.
But I've
So,
never seen I was like, "Ooh." I wanted to know, like, what brand is this? Because they are after this hot
right.
sauce.
I mean, I like Louisiana just like the next man, but damn,
Mm.
I would hope the chicken was seasoned. Like,
I'm like, especially after they tipped him, get that big old plate.
right. So yeah. So
But
at
isn't
the,
this also I'm sorry,
you're good.
but isn't this also where David, like, calls his girl? Or is that later?
He has been calling her.
Yeah.
So yeah,
He's trying to
he
apologize.
yeah, and she's not in the building for none of it. But yeah, he did. I think the last time he called her was right when they pulled up to the barbecue.
Mhm.
So
'Cause he's realizing this player life ain't really him, you know?
yeah, this it's not his thing. It's not his thing at all. But yeah, so at the strip mall, uh,
At the stripper mall
the stripper mall,
for all your stripping needs.
right, one
I mean,
stop.
that could be lit.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure it will be very profitable because people walk around dressed like strippers anyway. So,
I know.
so
I love me
yeah,
some
this
P
is
Valley.
okay. So, this is when Dre tells Spoolie and Kilo, "Hey, this is y'all stop. They're going to bus stop down there. Y'all need to go home and get changed for the party anyway. So, this is where I leave you." So
Mhm.
they like, "Dang,
Oh,
you
and
could have
this
just
is
dropped us off."
also sorry, I keep doing
Yeah, go ahead.
this is also where Natalie Desselle I saw a short clip of her in an interview for the movie,
Uh-huh.
and she was like, they should have had a shower scene for him because he's been out here with 3 or 4 different women. He needs to be taking a shower at some point.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Like it was a lot. It was a lot going on, and he's not spending a lot of time with these women, so I'm sure he's not taking showers.
No.
And then, yeah, yeah, it was a lot.
I was like, "You're
So,
right."
yeah, yeah, 100%. So, I guess that extra spray he did in the morning, I guess that was supposed to hold him over
You
through all
know he
these
would have
conflicts.
some whatever Axe body spray equivalent would be like in the glove compartment,
Something,
something. Yeah.
but yeah, so
Some little Blue Nile,
some cool water,
cool
something.
water, yes. Curve, something.
Right. something. But yeah, so they go. So like him and David, they go into the store, and Spoolie and Kilo they head for the bus stop. Well, while they're heading
That
for the
was
bus
so
stop,
wild to me.
yeah, it was like,
'Cause
well, I'm
we've
like,
been
dang, do they
along
live on the other side of town? Like what?
along with you all day long. We're supposed to be getting some barbecue. It's finally like 6 o'clock. We're finally pulling up to the barbecue because we've been on you with your sexcapades all day, and you
Mm-hmm.
can't take us home.
You can't take us home.
That's
It,
another thing
mind
where I was like,
you,
"Oh, you're really not friends. There's no way."
right? Because mind you, he didn't even pick them up. Like they had to take the
No,
bus
they
to
let
his place.
him.
Right?
Right.
Yeah, that was a lot. I was just like,
I
dang,
was
that's
like,
kind of
"That's
messed up.
you really suck, my dear. You don't."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was a bit much. So yeah, so they go to the bus stop. Now, while they're going to the bus stop, Spoolie ends up running into this guy who ended up being Bernie Mac.
Mhm.
And so, dude, of course, had an
Of
attitude
course.
with him, and he went on about his business. So while he's going on about his business, that's when Spoolie says to Kilo, like, "Ain't that old dude's or old girl's husband?"
Mhm.
And so Kilo was like, "Yeah, it is," and he was about to go step to him. And while he did that, Spoolie stopped him and was like, "Nah, we we're told to go to the bus stop. We about to miss our bus." And so then he was like, "Yeah, you're right." So they don't confront him.
No.
And Bernie Mac sees David and Andre, and then they see him, and so then he starts running after him. Now, one thing about Bernie Mac is that not only does he chain smoke, but he also has asthma. So he's not running
He can't
far.
go anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so they jump
My
into
man
the
is gonna sit
car.
down.
Right. So they jump into the car and they burn out. And so while they do that or whatever, he's running past them or he's running after them, but he gets to the bus stop that Spoolie and Kilo are sitting at. So they're sitting there cracking up. And so Bernie Mac is, so they asked him, they was like, dang, what's wrong with you? Because he's completely winded. And so then he was like, what's wrong with me? I'm about to show you what's wrong with me. And so he goes into his back pocket. It looks like he's grabbing for a gun. So they burn out. But no, he was grabbing for his
Yeah.
inhaler.
They're like, "This guy's got a gun."
So
No,
yeah.
he just wants to breathe.
Right. That's it. That's all. So, so yeah, so uh after that or whatnot, they go and they, get changed or whatever, and we have another montage of everybody getting ready to go to this party out in
Mhm.
Malibu. So we get to the party
There's been a
and
lot of talk about Malibu. This Malibu, Malibu that,
yes,
Malibu this.
right. So they get out there to Malibu to this party, and then that's when Spoolie and Kilo are reunited with Dre and David. And so
They were all going to the party.
they were all going to the party together. Yeah.
You made them take the
What
bus?
you made them take a bus because shit, what it wasn't no Uber back then. So yeah.
No, but you could have just driven them to the party. We're all going to the party.
That's why I'm thinking like they must stay on a completely other end of town for him
Or
to
they
be just
actually
so
went and took a
inconvenienced.
shower to get ready for the party, like you
Yeah.
should have done.
No, he did. They went home and David went with him, remember, because they had this whole
Yeah, that's
conversation.
right. They did go
Yeah.
with him.
So, yeah. So everybody, goes home and gets dressed to go to the party. But yeah, he didn't go pick up Spoolie and Kilo. So,
Boo.
so yeah. So they're at the party and he's running game at the party. So what he does is he picks out the nerdiest girl at the party
She's
and
actually a
treats her
cute
like a queen.
girl. She's just
She's a
kind of
cute girl.
awkward and wears glasses.
Right. She's a bit awkward.
Yeah.
So,
But she loves to have fun. I was like, she's awkward, but she's authentic, right? And I
right.
was like, and and she's like totally into it, totally game, totally seems totally down to have fun or whatever. I was like, oh, she
Yeah.
seems actually like a cool person, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, she
So
did.
this is all strategery. This is all part of the player's plan, you
This is
see.
part of his plan.
Right.
Exactly.
He picks off the weak or the marginalized, the ones at the corner of the room, and
Right.
puts them in the center, and then everybody thinks, "Oh, he's such a great guy," which is like,
Yeah, which is all
I
part of his plan, and it
hate it. I
worked.
hate it.
Right. It works.
Yeah, I hate it for that girl, but she didn't seem to notice, so that's fine.
Right, right. She did not notice. However, other people did notice, and his plan worked. His plan
Yeah,
definitely worked.
because
So
he's giving her all this attention or whatever,
yeah, you treat
and
her
like
like she's the prettiest one in the room. Then the
mhm,
prettiest one in the room is
will
like,
notice
hey,
you.
yeah. So they have so we have this situation going on or whatever, and and it's so funny how it worked because even the women went up to her and was like, "Ooh, how did that go?" and blah blah blah.
Hmm.
You know.
What's he like? Blah blah blah.
So they
And I'm
have this.
glad it wasn't like she was like jealous about it or anything like that. She was like, "Oh no, he's great. No, he's da, 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 da."
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right, right. So in this whole situation, he does have the one that everybody's like checking for it come up to him and approach him, you know. So like we said, the plan worked. And then we see Jenny and her friend. They show up to the party and whatnot. Then the next thing you know is his women start showing up one by one. And we see him adapt. We see him adapt and handle each situation. And he got out.
By the skin of his teeth,
Yeah.
man. Like,
Yes, he definitely got out. One of the rules that he has, which he was talking to Spooty about, was that he doesn't, which again, this is 1997. He doesn't have a beeper, but his all of his women have beepers.
mm-hmm. So
And
you
we
can keep
see
in
why.
contact with them, but they
Right.
can't keep in contact with you.
Exactly. But he has
Manipulation
a cell phone.
and
Right.
deception.
Right. But I'm like, he has a cell phone. So how, I mean, they could call his
How does
cell
that
phone.
work? Right.
Right. But anywho, I guess you got to get to a phone to call the cell phones. But yeah, so we see him put this play in motion because there was about like 6 different women at the party, perhaps,
Yes.
approximately.
Well, he cannot
So
have a job because there's just no
well, the job
time.
got mentioned. The job got
Oh,
mentioned when he was talking to Uncle Fred.
okay.
Because when they were talking about his dad, and he was like, "Your dad would be so proud of you with the work that you've done at Def Jam." So he does something
Oh,
in
he's
music.
supposed to work at Def Jam. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So he does something with music.
Okay.
So
Maybe he's an A&R or something.
that's what I was thinking. A&R.
Yeah. That
Um,
used to be the thing back in the day, man. Everybody
yeah.
wanted to be an AR.
Right. Right. So yeah, so we have him put this play in motion. After he got out a couple of chicks with the ones that he actually ran into or whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
um he ended up going to his car and calling everybody's pager that were still left in the party. And he has a special code for them when he's coming to see them. And that had them
Running
trembling.
out the house, girl.
Yeah. So they all left. And so, he pretty much adapted to the circumstance and handled it accordingly. Then he goes back to pretty much gloat in his sister's face and her friend about the situation that they put him in. So he ends up leaving. And when he leaves, he's going home because he is anticipating his actual girlfriend, Lisa, to come over that evening after she got off of work. So he got the house is still nice or whatever, but he starts
This is
setting it
all
up
the
for their
same
dad.
day.
Yes, all in the same day. So he starts setting up the house, making it real nice for them to have their intimate time together. She went. Then we also see that Lisa leaves work and she goes home and changes and whatnot to get ready. to go over there. While all this is occurring, he gets a knock at the door and he's thinking that it's Lisa, but it's not. It is his sister's friend. Her name is Veronica, right?
No. Katrina.
Katrina, that's right. So, Katrina's at the door. And so with Katrina at the door, he's kind of thrown off because he's like, you know, this is a surprise. What's going on? And so then she pretty much came over to apologize, to give him his list of women back, and to just pretty much say that it'll never happen again. And you know, she ain't necessarily hitting on him, but then
she's definitely throwing out a vibe.
Yeah, she's throwing out a vibe. And then when she's leaving, because she starts realizing, like, hey, this stuff is set up for a lady to come over. And so then he was just like, yeah, Lisa's on her way. So yeah, that's what I thought you were. Mm-hmm. So she's like, oh, okay, well, I'll leave. So she ends up kissing him before she left. And so then he's just like, okay. And so she's about to walk out, and then she turns around and then really kisses him. Mm-hmm. And so when she really kissed him, that's when it was on. And so then the dream that we saw at the beginning starts to kind of take place at this point. And so like they're really pretty much getting into this session.
Yeah. Because it was presented kind of like a dream, but it was really that very 90s. Here we are at the end of the movie, mm-hmm. and we're going to show you how we got here.
Yeah, yeah. But then it ended up being a dream because at the beginning it was with the Sherry girl.
Oh yeah, no. They played it like a dream, but it really was the end of the movie.
Right.
Yeah.
So, his fear came to life, but it wasn't
dream became real.
Right. But it wasn't with Sherry. It was with Katrina. So, what ends up happening is that she comes in, and she sees that how the place is laid out for them to have their, intimate time. And so when she goes upstairs to the bedroom, that's when we're like, okay, shit's about to hit the fan. However, he was one step ahead, and mm-hmm. he was laying in the bed holding her picture. How convenient.
Like he was asleep.
Right. And so.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, just laying it on extra thick. It's like, why did you have to hold the picture? You could have just been laying there. Like, so yeah. So they're like, oh, they're so cute and blah, blah, blah. And they're embracing one another. However, Katrina is still there, and she does not have her dress on yet, but she's holding it.
Mm-hmm. Made her way downstairs.
Yeah. So
which I don't know how you could do. Like the thing about those like concrete places is you hear it every noise.
Right.
If she's wearing any kind of heel, you're gonna hear her work down every single step. Like
right, but she was holding her heels, but still
she was holding it. Okay.
But those type of steps, you would have heard them move because those was like metal steps with no support. So it's like you would have heard, even though she was barefoot. Yeah. So yeah. So we see her, going downstairs and leaving and whatever, which we assume that she left. So then Lisa's like, okay, I'm about to go change into something more comfortable and I'll be back. So she goes to the bathroom and changes. Then she comes out and she sees on the refrigerator, somebody wrote in red lipstick, busted adapt. And it is Katrina's underwear and dress. Mm-hmm. And so she's like, Dre, you son of a bitch, which is what she said at the beginning in that dream. Mm-hmm. And that's Def Jam's How to Be a Player.
Yes.
So what were your thoughts when you watched it?
That it wasn't for me. It was for definitely somebody much younger. And probably in the 90s specifically. Like,
yeah.
I don't feel like it translates really well to now. But
you could not make this type of movie now.
It just wasn't funny to me,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately. Um, yeah. The line that made me laugh was when they were at the party and Natalie Desselle's character, his sister Jenny, was like walking around the party and like getting hit on by these different guys or whatever. And this one guy came up to her and she was like, "Oh, I feel so sick." And I'm like, what's wrong with this? All them waves on his head.
Right.
That made me laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But
that
other than
made
that,
you
it was
laugh, but Dussy didn't make you laugh? Got
that was
nothing
just
out
more
of
of a
Dussy.
surprise. That scene was that was entertaining, but it didn't really make me laugh.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's fair.
But yeah, I was just like, okay.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not for me.
Yeah. One thing that I always struggled with this movie,
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, obviously it was entertaining, especially to a 13-year-old. But
Yeah.
one thing I always struggled with this movie was them picking Bill Bellamy to be the player.
Yeah. I mean, Bill Bellamy was cute.
And maybe it was me
He's
because I never
cute.
looked at Bill
He's
Bellamy as
got
being
the
cute.
dimple. He's
Yeah.
got nice, large, dark eyes, right?
Yeah.
Um, but he's not typically someone you would look at and think, "Oh, that's," especially at that time period, like, "That's gonna be a player," whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, today we call him a F-boy,
Yeah.
and I could see him being that. Like,
Oh yeah, 100%.
but, like,
100%.
for, that time period, well, for one thing, well, colorism is a thing, right? So,
Yeah.
typically who you would see on screen being the player. I don't
Right.
have a problem with that. All shades, I don't care. So,
Mm-hmm.
that's fine. But then also he's like, again, he's very cute. He's not like super sexy. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Even
Um,
now,
yeah,
because like now I find him handsome,
right.
especially because he's grown
Mhm, mhm.
now. But I just still don't get player out of him.
Yeah, I don't get it either. Um, I don't feel like he had that charisma necessarily. It's not showing here, right? Now, when you see
Mhm.
him live, like doing interviews and stuff like that, charisma off the chain.
Yeah, 100%. Especially when he guest hosted on Wendy Williams, he did an excellent job.
Mhm, mhm,
So he and then even when you look at his stand up, especially and when he was a VJ, like
mhm,
he definitely has it. It's
mhm.
just he don't have
I mean, see
player
it in
it.
this movie, not in
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
Um, that's just the movie, and the movie just feels very thin. Um, you have so much talent in here. It should be a joke machine.
yeah.
Like, because the cast is stacked. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like that whole scene with David, that went on for way too long. And I was just like, I literally like I had to rewind it a few times because I was like, what is happening here and why is this
Yeah.
important? What is
Um.
this adding? What is this adding to the story? Because it wasn't adding humor for me. So I was like, it really just didn't add too much. It could have been much shorter and he could still have that same character arc,
Mm-hmm.
which I like the character arc
Yeah.
because all the stuff that Bill Bellamy's character is doing is some real toxic crap.
Mm-hmm.
And he's trying to imitate that. It's not working for him because that's not really what you want to do, who you want to be. You're trying to be this person
Exactly.
to appeal to these people who are your friends, but it's just doing nothing but making you miserable.
Right. Right.
So
Because
just
in real life, you
that's not
want
what you want.
Elise Neal, right?
Yeah.
Which I did forget that part because at the party they did reconcile.
Mhm.
So
Now,
um
whether I would have reconciled, that's gonna be a no.
especially not within a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Mm-mm.
no. But
But yeah, like I would have loved to have seen just I don't know more comedy. It was just kind of more antic kind of thing, kind of like what do you say, like American Pie. It's
mhm,
more about the antics, I guess.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, I was disappointed. Because there are other movies during this time, like Two Can Play That Game, right?
Mm-hmm.
That are really good. Like, we were talking about another one earlier. I can't remember which one it was. But yeah.
But yeah, they had Two that Can Play That Game, Sprung.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they had a lot of movies like that. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like what drove me to even watch this movie was Foxy Brown.
Yeah, I mean,
That song
between
was
Def
huge.
Jam and MTV, like the
Mm-hmm.
marketing was on point.
Yeah,
You would definitely expect at least one hit from the soundtrack for sure.
yeah.
Um,
Big Bad Mama was a huge song.
yeah. I just remember like seeing this movie, like the trailer,
Mm-hmm.
not being really interested because it's not really marketed to a 13-year-old girl. So,
Right. Right.
yeah. And then again, like Bill Bellamy is cute. He's not like, oh my God, it's, for
Right.
me.
Right.
So had he been that, maybe I would have been like, oh, I want to go see it.
Right. Right.
Um, but yeah, I mean, the budget was 15 million. They made 14 million.
Mm.
So it was a flop.
Yeah.
And of course, critics did not receive it well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not surprised at that. Um, but yeah, it didn't work for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I can
That's
definitely.
the other movie we were talking about that came out around the same time.
You said what?
Taps was the other movie we were talking about that came out around the same time.
Right. Right.
So there are a few movies in this vein, like that's really when black comedies were really there were so many more of them happening. So there are other selections around this time, even with similar storylines, perhaps, or similar themes that you could watch, and I think would be better.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. I mean, for me, it's a cute movie. It's nothing to take serious at all. Even back then when I watched it, it was nothing to take serious at all.
I'm not gonna have like a discourse about this movie. Like, no.
Right, no. Not at all. I mean, it was something to do. It didn't shoot Bill Bellamy into a leading man type of situation.
No.
It just for him to be the leading man, and this movie pretty much rely on him to be a player. It didn't land.
No,
it never landed for me.
I could see like Will Smith at the time doing this.
Will Smith at the time was Independence Day, so he wouldn't have done this.
Well, considering the way movies are filmed, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could see him like doing this kind of role at the time. It would just be like a year or two earlier. But like I could see him in this kind of role, and I could see him having that kind of energy in this movie, in a movie like this.
And I don't know if I would have bought this movie with Will Smith.
No,
either, because especially back then, we're so used to Fresh Prince Will Smith.
Yeah, but on Fresh Prince Will Smith, he was always dating.
He was always dating, but he wasn't like
he had a few relationships.
But he was,
kind of, sort of, maybe.
I don't
it
get
depends
this
on which
type
season we're talking about. I think some seasons were more like because he was always girl crazy on the show. So
he was always girl crazy, but it was always one girl at a time. It wasn't like he was just always dating multiple women or anything like that.
Sometimes he was, sometimes he wasn't. So. I mean, sometimes he was, sometimes he wasn't. It'd be like a special guest who would show up for an episode. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but he just that one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Sometimes.
I don't know. I mean, they tried to play him to be a womanizer in college,
right?
But we didn't really see that.
We saw him dating several different women, he's always like his head on the swivel and all that, kind of like So I could see him in a role similar to this at that time. I'm just trying to think of like actors at the time who were also comedic and also could like pull off how to be a player.
I can't think of.
Will Smith is the only one I can think of.
Yeah, I can't think of an alternative.
Yeah, So, but anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
So why was this movie that you suggested?
I mean, it was cute. It was a
Mm-hmm.
cute movie at the time, of course. And like I said, I mean, it was more about Big Bad Mama.
Mm-hmm. It's more
For
about
even
the
for me to even see the movie back then.
yeah.
Because like I said, that's probably one of Foxy Brown's biggest songs, to
Mm-hmm.
be honest.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because that song was humongous.
Mm-hmm.
It was featuring Drew Hill. It had the
Mm-hmm.
sample from Bad Mama Jamma, which
Mm-hmm.
was a dope song just by itself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Majima. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that song was huge. I had no idea it was on that soundtrack.
yeah. That was a huge song. The video shows all kinds of clips from the movie and stuff like that.
That's
So
true. Oh my
yeah.
god. Yeah. I still
Yeah.
didn't
Still didn't put two and two together.
it didn't come together in my mind. It was always just like, oh, that's a great,
Yeah.
song.
Right.
These
Right.
excellent groups. But I never, yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
I remember like some of the dancing maybe from the video, but like I did not remember that was part of that they had shots from the movie in there.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it did. Like that song was humongous. So that song is what led me to going ahead and watch it. Because I didn't go to the theater to see it. I saw this on cable.
Mm-hmm.
So but I was just like, oh, it's cute or whatever. And I saw that it was streaming. I put this, on a list of many different things that I'm sure you hadn't saw.
Yeah.
So yeah. But no, it doesn't. It's not a movie that I hold near and dear to my heart, or I have a big story or anything like that. It was just a movie I watched.
Did you know
and it was cute
different this time, or new, or have a new understanding of anything while watching?
From watching again, I know there's something like this we couldn't do now. But it was a movie that was meant to be looked at silly back then.
Yeah.
And you look at it silly again now.
I think you could. I think you could do this movie today. You would just have to like try and think about how you get around stuff with technology.
Yeah. You have to be more slick. Like the little simple shit that he was getting away with, you can't get away with now. You'll have to be more clever. Most definitely. It was more of a silly version of a Thin Line, I guess.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can see that for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So what's our rating system, Lindsay?
Yes. Our rating system. So we have 1 movie real trash AF, 2 it exists, 3 entertaining, 4 great, 5 a true classic. I'm scared.
What do you think? What do you think I would give it?
I think you would give it a 2.
You're correct.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see it being a 2. For me, I would give it a 3.
Okay.
Yeah. It's entertaining.
Yeah.
It's not something where I would be like, oh,
you gotta watch
for this to be over. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's
not
must see either, but yeah.
It wasn't torturous, but also like I laughed out loud once. So
yeah. Yeah, them waves, boy, them waves. So yeah, so that is our rating. So what are we watching next time?
Next time we are watching 1983's Splash starring Tom Hanks. It is streaming on Disney Plus.
Yes. Tom Hanks and Daryl Hannah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. All right.
Let's see. Because it came out in 1983, and that was the year we were born.
Yeah. So we kind of didn't catch it in the theaters.
Kind of missed it, we both kind of missed it. But I remember seeing it like on video.
Okay.
Like as a kid, like when I was like 6 or maybe 7. And I think it was like PG or PG-13. And I remember my mom being hesitant about letting me watch it because of the rating.
Oh, wow.
She did.
Okay. I wonder why it was rated PG-13. Probably because of the
language
bikini
and brief nudity.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So that is what we are watching. Splash. So
Yes.
Maria, where can we find you?
You can find me online pretty much anywhere, and if I am there, you will find me at Valar More Dollars. That's VALARMOR dollars. I'm also on another podcast with 5 other Black women where we talk nerdy, geeky stuff, pop culture stuff. So you can come join us there. It's called Nerdgasm Noir. We also have other shows where we cover like uh, romance novels called Smut Book Club. So you want to check that out too. And where can they find you, Lindsay?
Smut Book Club. I have got to listen to y'all talk about some smut books.
Yeah, we have authors on, all kind of stuff.
Yeah, that is funny. So you can find me everywhere at L_Ranelle. That's L_RANELE. And also on my other podcast, with my cousin, the Ish We Talk, and we talk about a variety of different topics.
I might have to go live today.
Huh?
I might have to go live today. With
You
all
said
the
you
news.
might. Oh,
You and Lily.
I know. And that's the crazy part about it, because we filmed Friday, and we started off
Things were
talking
already
about,
crazy enough.
right. We started off talking about the assassination attempt, and then we quickly ventured off into talking about Biden.
Yep.
So yeah. Oh no, we'll have to see, because in a couple of days I'll be gone. So
Oh, okay.
yeah. Yeah, we might have to do a special and talk about that. But yeah, so yeah.
We'll see you next time.
Yeah. That is
Episode
episode 58. Right. So it's a lot. But yeah, that is episode 58 of Roomies Review the Movies. And we will see you guys for episode 59. Bye.